Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel today, and we are here to finish out Thrawn Treason, the third book of Timothy Zahn's The Imperial Trilogy, Thrawn Treason. And this book is my second favorite in the trilogy, and it has Thrawn coming up with definitely one of the most challenging enemies that he's going to have to face, and not necessarily the person who is that enemy, but what that enemy represents. Thrawn is having to negotiate for funding for his TIE fighter program. And the funding issue that he's running into is Orson Krennic's Stardust project. And this will turn into the Death Star. And fundamentally, from a military perspective, Thrawn absolutely disagrees with the idea that we are going to put all of our chips in the same basket, all of our eggs, and bet on this super massive, powerful weapon. But if that weapon is somehow destroyed or lost or malfunctions, our entire effort is lost because we've put all of our funding, all of our efforts. And so he, if you're following again, Thrawn Zahn does a great job of weaving this in with the Star Wars Rebels TV show, and they do a good job of playing off of one another. Thrawn on and Governor Arinda Price on Lothal, they have been foiled again by Hera Syndulla, Kanan Jarrus, the rebels. And Thrawn wants to stay on Lothal because he clearly does not believe that Governor Price is capable or competent enough to deal with this enemy. However, given the choice between losing the funding for his TIE fighter program and dealing with the rebels, he chooses what he considers to be the more pressing in the moment, which is leaving Lothal, returning and dealing with the Emperor, dealing with Tarkin, and dealing with Krennic, and vying for more money. So this is sort of the financial and political background, the first sort of step in this drama, and again, something that Thrawn is not good at. Zahn does a good job of not allowing Thrawn to be invincible. It's true, militaristically and with military theory, you can't beat him. However, there's always something that he has to deal with and be responsible for that is just not in his wheelhouse. It's not his forte, and thereby are the weaknesses of this character. And so essentially it's going to become he has to go on and prove to the Emperor that he is worthy. And so the mission is given. Krennic agrees to it. However, Krennic is going to plant a mole into Thrawn's party. And it's going to be an individual who's going to be, Ronan is his name, and he's going to be reporting back to Krennic and trying to stop Thrawn from essentially earning the right and dealing with different things. Essentially, Krennic is dealing with his supply chain, and he cannot figure it out. And Thrawn essentially volunteers to, if I solve this, I get my money. And Krennic is going to have to do without that money. And he's just going to have to keep working itself. So sort of an I scratch your back, you scratch mine. However, if Thrawn can't figure this out, something that Krennic hasn't been able to solve, there's something happening. There are bandits, there are marauders, there is some issue in the supply chain. And Krennic can't figure it out. And if Thrawn can, he gets to keep his money. And so there we have our plot. There we have our drama. Ronan is there to stop Thrawn, essentially, to foil the plan, to be a roadblock. And after this big meeting, Tarkin pulls aside one of the Grand Admirals and asks him to sort of keep an eye on him. So his name is Grand Admiral Savit. And so, sort of without Thrawn knowing it, Savit is keeping an eye on him as he's monitoring the situation. Savit has a lot of issues going on in his sectors that he's responsible for as a Grand Admiral. But just keep an eye on Thrawn. Well, the plot continues, and the purpose here is not necessarily to talk about all of the details, but through the course of this story, Thrawn is going to be reunited with Eli Vanto, who has been sent off to help the Chiss Ascendancy. As far as the Empire is concerned, Eli Vanto is he is a traitor. He has abandoned the Empire. He has fled, deserted, and joined the Chiss Ascendancy. And so Thrawn brings in some help to figure out this problem. He brings in Admiral Aralani of the Chiss Ascendancy, and she, along with her crew, including Eli Vanto, Lieutenant Eli Vanto, she's brought in to help him out. And boy, are some of the Imperial officers not pleased that there are aliens on an Imperial Star Destroyer, the Chimera, and they are helping out. And this is in where the treason, the title of the book, it is multifaceted in its meaning. Treason. Is there treason going on? Is there treachery in why Stardust is not getting the funding it needs in that supply chain? Is there treachery with Eli Vanto abandoning the Empire to help the Chiss Ascendancy? Is there treachery with Thrawn's alliances? This entire time, Thrawn has been loyal, as far as we're concerned, and as far as the Empire is concerned, to the Imperial causes. But now that the Chiss Ascendancy is actually boots on the ground with them, where are Thrawn's loyalties going to lie? And there are some secrets about the Chiss Ascendancy that they do not want anyone to know. The big secret is that the Chiss navigators and some of the individuals within the Chiss Ascendancy, they are force sensitive. They're not going to call it that. They're going to call it third sight. But however, they're also gifted in another way, second sight. So first sight would be normal vision, just normal senses. Second sight is going to be something that some of them have, essentially telepathy, that they can communicate and they can read one another. Third sight is going to actually be force sensitivity. And they use that for navigating. They use that third sight, they tune into the force and are guided and navigated. So they're very, very accurate and very, very effective in how they can navigate through unknown space as well as known space, which would be where major part of the Star Wars story takes place. And so a lot of these details Thrawn does not want to get out, even to the Empire. And through wars, through battles, through tests of wills, essentially the Chiss Ascendancy is there because they are fighting an enemy that has the ability to control their enemies' minds. Mind control. The Grisk is the enemy people, a nomad people who really do. They will roll into a star system, and through their ability, they will take over the minds of the enemy forces and turn them on themselves. And so the Chiss Ascendancy cannot allow the Grisk warships, and the technology that the Grisk have to get into the Chiss Ascendancy. And so utilizing some of that technology, the Chiss are fighting their battle. Thrawn and the Empire are working on Stardust's issues, and they're going to work together. The end of the story is that, yes, they are going to find that treason has happened, because as Thrawn puts together the pieces, as he's collecting data, as he's looking at art, he begins to see the fingerprints of one of the characters in the story, and begins to see how this character's fingerprints and style is all over the details. And Thrawn puts it together. Thrawn confronts this individual at the end of the story and proves that the traitor is who the Thrawn thought the traitor was. And so there's a big face-to-face battle, a face-to-face face-off at the end of it, and Thrawn is proven correct. and Thrawn wins over some of his detractors in it. And so it's an incredible story. There's so many twists. There's so many turns. And at the end of it, when Thrawn is going to vanquish the foe, Thrawn's TIE defenders are going to become invaluable, thereby showing Tarkin, showing the Emperor that his funding is actually necessary. And so the Chimera, the Chiss Ascendancy, it's fascinating. Funding is still not really going the way that Thrawn wants it to go. And as we know, the Star Wars world will continue on, and we know that the Death Star will get built. But just to see a difference of opinion, to see a difference of military style, and a difference of going about, again, earning trust. Thrawn wins people over because of his capability and because of his, not charm, right? He's not a charming individual, but he will demand loyalty from his people. And even those who dislike him will come around in the end. So this finishes off the end of this trilogy. And as they continue on, you finish the story for Thrawn as far as it goes in canon. You finish his story through the end of Rebels and even into the live-action Ahsoka TV show. As I'm recording this, we still are yet to receive Ahsoka Season 2, where we'll hopefully see a little bit more of that story unfold. There's a lot of controversy, as always, in Disney Star Wars, as well as Disney Lucasfilms, as far as who's running what, whose artistic vision gets to carry the day. And so we'll see what that second season looks like. Thrawn will fully return as the big bad. I know many, many, many fans are hoping to see sort of Zahn's Heir to the Empire storyline take place. I would love that. I think that would be a very, very wise choice to sort of bring Heir to the Empire into the storyline and allow that story. It's rich, it's true, the characters are strong. Allow that to be brought onto the screen. And I think that Zahn, as well as those over at Disney, will see the benefits and see that the fans are really appreciative of it. So Star Wars, Thrawn's Treason, this final book in the Imperial Trilogy. Let me know. What do you think about this trilogy? How do you relate to Thrawn? Do you appreciate him? Do you not get him? Where are you at on this? And as always, well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll look forward to meeting together again on another video. But until then, take care.